Well, hello. I don't normally don't do this, but I'm trying to promote this little story that kind of become kind of like a tender mercy to me. It's called Sometimes Just Fly Away. And it's about a little handicap boy that came in my store about 5 years ago. And anyway, a little boy came in the store and he was in a wheelchair, and all he could do was flap his hands and smile, like this huge smile. And I had this weird feeling that little boy wasn't going to be around too much longer. And so anyway, I'd written a little kid's book, and I had a remote control helicopter upstairs that I wanted to give the grandmother for the little boy to fly, or for her to fly for the little boy. So anyway, about 3 days after I gave it to him, the grandmother came back in, and the little boy had passed away. And anyway, she had her granddaughters with her, and we were out picking raspberries in the raspberry patch so they could make some homemade shakes out back. And anyway, we had this golden dragonfly come in and land, and it wouldn't go away. And the grandmother believed that it was the little boy coming back, telling us that he'd flown away to a different place. And I got so inspired about this little boy that I wrote kind of a book that the little boy brought all these kind of tender mercies to my life. And anyway, it inspired me to write a little book. So I wrote a little book and dedicated it to the little boy. And the first part of the book, there's only about 4 or 5 stories about little boy, but there's about 200 little poems and puns and different things that he kind of installed in me and kind of brought to life about like true life situations. So anyway, I was trying to promote this book, and there was some really bizarre stories that happened after this book was already gone to publish. And one of the things is the book was already done, and I didn't know the little handicapped boy's name even. And so I had a gentleman from across the street pull in, and I was just getting ready to hit send on my phone. And anyway, he knew the little boy, and the little boy, he had built a memorial bench for the little boy. The little boy's name was Dylan. And Dylan on the bench, he said, he quoted, "Bear Lake is the greatest place in the galaxy." So anyways, I went down and got a picture of the bench, and then I went to the secretary of the recreational place across the street, and I got the family's name, and I ended up getting some really fun stories and really neat things. And I never used to believe in tender mercies, but this year, working on this little story kind of brought forth some feelings about tender mercies. And kind of one of the neatest things about this whole story is, and this story is not in the book, so I'm working on another story. It's called Tender Mercies, and it'll be a little follow-up story to this story, and some other stories that came about after this one already went to publish. But it was really odd because it's almost like Dylan, the little boy, wanted this story to come to life about him and his family, and it's like he wanted me to meet his family, and it was like I was like the messenger or the taxi cab for this story to kind of come to life. So anyway, it was kind of neat. I was standing here in the store, and I had this little girl come in, and she was across the counter from me, and anyway, she kept staring at my T-shirt, the same T-shirt that I have on right now, and it's the cover of the little book, Sometimes Just Fly Away. So anyway, this little girl, she was about 7 years old, and she stood across the counter from me, and I thought something was wrong with her. So I asked the little girl, I says, "Are you okay? Is there something I can do for you? What's your name? How are you? You sure you're okay?" And the little girl just pointed right at my T-shirt, and she said, "That is my brother, and I love him very much, and he's gone now, and he'd be 16 years old this year if he was still here." And I just lost it, you guys. I totally lost it. The only time I've ever cried in my life is when I've lost one of my hunting dogs. But anyway, I started to get teary-eyed, and I had to walk in the back room. I sat back there for about 15 seconds, and when I came back out, little girl was gone. And it was kind of like a tender mercy had happened. It was like Dylan wanted me to, at the point when I met him, he knew that I was going to be the messenger for this little story, and he wanted this little story to happen, but he wanted me to meet his family, from him to all of his relationships and relations and family. And the neatest thing that really finished this whole story off is when that little girl came in here and pointed at this T-shirt and said, "That's my brother, and he'd be 16 years old, and I love him and miss him." So anyway, I was hoping to do good enough with this book. Normally I don't try to promote myself or anything that I do, really. But this book's on Amazon.com, and I've been thinking about continuing this story because I wanted to share all the all the things that happened after this book came to place, and to me, it made me believe more in tender mercies. And so, anyways, you want to check this book out. It's on Amazon.com, and I think it's on Kindle too. But I was hoping to promote the book enough to make enough so that I can really finish this book off, kind of be like a trilogy where there might be one more book to really explain what happened in this book. And I'm going to name the book Tender Mercies, and I've become a firm believer in tender mercies after what happened with that little boy, and right down to meeting his little sister. And it's been really weird because after I met his little sister, all the little different things have stopped happening, and it's almost like Dylan, the little boy, wanted this book to come about. So anyway, I was just proposing. Well, I can't even hardly speak. I get all teary-eyed when I talk about this story, but I'm just promoting my book. It's called Sometimes Just Fly Away, and I think it's on Amazon.com and Kindle. So anyways, if you like it, if you like my little story, if you bought the book, maybe if you could share with your friends or share with some people, and maybe we could make this book go somewhere. That'd be pretty awesome. But anyways, alright, sure love you guys. Sure appreciate all your support. Okay, thank you very much. Love you guys. Big smiles from me to you. Okay, bye-bye.